Just going to ask a few questions. When did it become popular to criticize the Pope for caring for the needy and the downtrodden?
He wants to attack us from securing our border. He's got a wall around the Vatican, does he not? So he's got a wall around to protect his people and himself, but we can't have a wall around the United States. So I wish he'd stick to the Catholic Church and fix that and leave border enforcement to us.
When did it become popular to criticize the Pope for how he chooses to address people in Italy?
I would have loved for the first Pope from America to say something in English.
I was a little surprised that a Chicago native did not say a few words in English.
He's talking Spanish. He's an American.
He spoke in Latin, Spanish, and Italian, did not speak in English.
He did not speak in English. I mean, that to me was very disturbing.
When did it become popular to hate? What is really happening is that there is a bunch of theory that is being put in practice that the executive branch is trying to exercise its executive powers. And what happens is when they hit a roadblock, then they back up and figure out how they can get back through that again. What didn't work in the first administration for Mr. Trump is something he's still trying, but trying more of when he got away with it. And then he's pushing the boundaries of the other stuff that he hadn't tried yet. And as Senator Chris Murphy said, this is what the Republican congressmen, most of them, want to happen. They want Trump to stay in power forever. I believe in the separation of powers, the separation of church and state. I believe that the judiciary is doing its best. Federal judges are doing their best to hold to the rule of law. I know that the spin that President Trump is trying to put on deportation and immigration is that we are being attacked. We are not being attacked. Most immigrants pay taxes, they work in jobs that a lot of our citizenry does not want to work in, which is also why a lot of these companies have exported those jobs. Yes, there have been some companies that have decided they're going to invest in our country, but investing in our country does not mean putting money in the taxpayers, in the American pockets, in our citizenry pockets. It means expanding their companies within America, which we hope will lead to more jobs, but sometimes it will and sometimes it won't. Let's talk about tariffs a minute. The tariffs frightened everyone, and they still are frightening to people. So we hear it's be patient, let me make a deal, etc., etc., and then we hear, but the price of eggs is still going up, and you're saying gas is like $1.80. Where in the world is it $1.80? It's not. Tariffs are regressive for most of Americans, because what ends up happening is that the companies that are forced to pay them do shift the price to us. And so it means prices will continue to go up. Well, somehow President Trump wanted this to pressure the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Powell, to lowering the interest rates. Well, he can't, because what the tariffs were supposed to do was increase the bond yield. So when the bond yield was not increased, what that meant is that there was not faith that the United States government was going to pay or be able to pay its bonds. That's oversimplification, but I'm trying to say to you that what they thought was going to happen with these enormous tariffs did not happen. And so then they're spinning it again and saying, well, we want to make a deal. Well, they always wanted to make a deal. But what they did was they shook up the global perception of the United States of America overnight. And it meant more uncertainty, which meant it was certain that they were not going to lower interest rates. So we're hearing a bunch of inconsistencies at best, outright lies at worst. But the results are terrifying and dismantling, not just of structures and institutions, but people's lives. When they counted on that Social Security check and they're not getting it. When they counted on Medicaid and it's no longer going to be there. When the states were counting on that and all of a sudden they're taxed with that burden that they just did not expect because Congress had approved these things. And now the president is overstepping his executive powers and not acknowledging the separation of powers. When did this country favor tyranny and authoritarianism over democracy? Was it when you just didn't agree? We've always been able to disagree and agree to disagree, but still move the country forward.
I can't trust Obama. I have read about him, and he's an Arab. No?
No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about.
Then, when it gets to the point where he's pushed the envelope and he gets stopped, he backs up, and then he convinces other people to vote with him in Congress or to vote with him on the Supreme Court. All of it is designed to center the chaos and the power in the hands of President Trump. President Trump, who's sitting there going, I don't know, you have to ask Homeland. I don't know, you have to ask these guys. I don't know, you have to ask my lawyers. I don't know.
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as
I
president?
don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me.
Does that sound like a strong leader to you? No. So what? We're supposed to be okay with authoritarianism and to follow this person who keeps saying, I don't know, who keeps shifting the blame, not being accountable for anything that he does? His administration clearly is saying the buck stops with him, but does it really? Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, well, she's lost all credibility with anybody who knows the truth because she seems to be parroting anything that Donald Trump wants.
President, your first 100 days has far exceeded that of any other presidency in this country, ever. President Trump, your DOJ agencies have seized more than 22 million fentanyl pills, 3,400 kilos of fentanyl since you've been your last 100 days, which saved, are you ready for this, media? 258 million lives. Kids are dying every day because they're taking this junk.
We do this quietly. We don't invoke martial law. We take it to the streets. We fax our congresspeople because, frankly, our systems are fairly archaic in some ways. We write to get our Freedom of Information Act reports on ourselves. And we find out what information that Elon Musk now has in his hands on us. Individuals, that's your right. You can even sue the president for pardoning January 6th insurrectionists because, frankly, they were traitors to our country. And they were convicted of crimes. We have to support our court systems, and we have to support each other. And that means if you see something, say something, or organize and make it right. There are organizations that are doing things that are in support of changing what is happening with this administration. One group, I believe they're called Get Money Out of Politics, and it's sometime in July. I'm going to ask my producer to put that date in this video. There is going to be what they call a demand on Washington to repeal Citizens United, which allowed for this freewheeling spending that Elon Musk is doing and that the billionaires are doing to buy our elections. We don't want that kind of country. I mean, if you want that kind of country, move to Russia. They really do have that system in place. It's an authoritarian democracy, supposedly democracy. They have elections, they just don't mean anything. We don't want that to happen to our elections either. But democracy is a fragile thing. So speak up, organize, communicate with your congresspeople. And if you want to get money out of politics, this is the organization that you should support. Thank you for being here. This is Behind the Curtain. IMO.